Here is the short answer to today's question. Schema is the small block of machine-readable code that tells an answer engine plainly and unambiguously what your page is. That this is an organization. This is a person. This is a list of questions and answers. You only need a handful of types, and the single non-negotiable rule is this. The schema must be pre-rendered into the page, not added later by JavaScript, or half the engines will never see it. Let me cut through the hundreds of schema types because you do not need most of them. For an everyday business site, 4 cover almost everything. Organization, who you are as a business. Person, the human behind it, which matters because engines connect people to expertise. FAQ page, your questions and answers, which engines love because they map directly onto how people ask. And article, for your blog posts. Get these 4 right and pre-rendered, and you have done the schema that matters. Now let me show you the real thing on our own live site. This is the page source of typelessform.com/4AI-agents. I am going to scroll to the structured data. Here it is, a script block of type application/LD plus JSON. This is the machine-readable label. Notice it is right here in the page source. That is the important part. It was already in the page when it loaded, not stitched in afterwards by a script. Look at what it declares. Here is an FAQ page type, listing questions and their answers in a structure the engine can read directly. And here is an organization type, naming the business. The engine does not have to guess what this page is or infer it from the design. We have told it in its own language. When an engine is deciding whether to trust and cite a page, this kind of explicit, honest self-description is exactly what tips it toward yes. And here is the test that proves the most important point. I am going to fetch the same page with a plain command line request that runs no JavaScript at all, the way many crawlers see your site. Watch. The structured data is right there in the response. That is what pre-rendered means. If I ran this same test on a site that injects its schema with JavaScript, this command would come back empty, and the engines that do not run scripts would see nothing. This one passes. This is the trap that quietly kills schema on modern sites. Many frameworks add the structured data after the page loads with JavaScript. It looks fine in your browser, and it even validates in some testing tools that run scripts. But a crawler that does not execute JavaScript, and several of the AI crawlers do not fully, fetches the raw page and finds nothing. So the rule is simple and absolute. Your schema must be in the HTML the server sends before any script runs. You do not need to write this from scratch. Here is a minimal skeleton, an organization block with your name, your URL, and your social links. A person block for the founder with their role and expertise, and an FAQ page block with 3 to 5 real questions and honest answers. Fill in the blanks, put it in the page source, and validate it with a free schema testing tool. That is genuinely most of the schema an everyday business will ever need. So here is the checklist. 1. Use only the types you actually need: organization, person, FAQ, and article. 2. Make sure every claim in the schema matches what the visible page says, because a contradiction here breaks trust just like a contradiction anywhere else. 3. Pre-render it into the HTML. Never inject it with JavaScript. 4. Test it with the no-script fetch you just saw so you know the crawlers can read it. 4 steps, and your schema is doing its job. That is the schema your site actually needs. 4 types: honest, matching the visible page, and pre-rendered so every crawler can read it. It is not glamorous, but it is the difference between an engine guessing what you are and an engine knowing. That closes the foundation block. Structure, harmony, quotable pages, the answer first paragraph, comparison tables, and schema. Next, we move into getting found and distributed beyond your own domain. If you want us to check whether your schema is pre-rendered correctly, the first audit is free. The link is in the description and pinned in the first comment. This is Web App Ski. Thanks for watching.